Hello everyone, so welcome to our Facebook Live event for our draft business plan, which is currently out for consultation. So we're here with Ed Barnes and Ian McGuthick here from Bristol Water to answer any questions that people may have regarding our draft business plan, which is currently out for consultation. We've had a few questions in already from different people on Facebook and on Twitter, so I'll start by putting a few of those to the guys, and then if anyone has got any questions, please do just jump in and let us know, and we'll do our best to answer. So, welcome both. Hello.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks to our very makeshift studio that we put together today. I hope you're enjoying that, which is great. So, we've got the business plan. There's out for people for consultation. Now, a lot of time, businesses and government and lots of people put out consultations, and people don't always trust that their response is actually going to be listened to. They're not necessarily believing that people are actually listening and going to do anything with that. I'm sure you're going to tell me that's different for us here, but can you just explain exactly what's going to happen maybe with the responses you get and how that's actually going to form our business plan?
Yeah, sure.
Ian, do you want to go first?
Ned,
Oh, okay,
you start speaking. I'll let you go.
Okay, so we've been talking to our customers obviously all the time anyway through feedback mechanisms we've got here, but it's really important to say we've actually been engaging on our business plan for over 18 months already. So all the way through from the very start of design and development of our business plan, we've been listening to feedback from customers. And that's really importantly from all of our different customer groups. So what we've actually got is we've got a draft business plan which we've published. In there is a range of options. Now, we've already tested a lot of those options with customers. What we're doing is going back out and saying, this is what it looks like in the round, these are the different options available, and we really want to hear customers' views, come back really clearly looking at the different service performance levels we're talking about, the different bill impacts, and saying this is what we can provide to you for a certain amount of money. This is what we can provide to you for a certain amount on your bill. We're definitely listening to customers. We've been hosting events out and about in town. We've been having events here in our offices as well, and also specific events really diving into particular areas of the business plan as well.
Cool. And on top of that, I guess the thing is, if you don't like the options we're presenting, you can actually say, well, actually, have you thought about this?
Yeah.
And the reason why we do some of these events is there's a chance for people to ask us questions.
Mm-hmm.
And actually we'll go away and go, hang on a minute, yeah, that was a really good question.
Yeah.
We hadn't thought about that. It helps us to do that. And we've also got a group called the Bristol Water Challenge Panel. So that's our stakeholders, largely. And the stakeholders will having a look at what we're doing. They're reviewing all the research. And when we put in our business plan to the regulator Ofwat, they actually write a report that says how well they think they've done the customer research. Ofwat come round and had a look at what our planning approach is, the one that Ed described, and that's quite important as well. So you don't have to just trust us, we hope you do, but there's actually plenty of ways that people can. The reason for doing it transparently is people can
The challenge panel
actually see it.
Independent, right? It's not-
Yeah, independently chaired. Includes people from universities, it includes local charities, it's got community groups, it's got some of our regulators in, like the Environment Agency. So it's got a wide range of people there. They have to write a report about how good our engagement has been for Ofwat, our regulator. So it's part of that process, but actually we don't do it just for that. We do it because actually we want to know what people think, because we want to give services to people that they actually want, not what just we think's a good idea.
So you said in there that you really do want to hear from people, and you will take those views on board and maybe even change the plan. Have you got any examples of when in the past that's happened for Bristol Water?
Yeah, sure. So a little bit ahead of the draft business plan, we published our draft water resources management plan. So this is looking at a 25-year horizon and looking at sort of the water supply and demand over that period. It's already quite a technical piece. But whilst developing that work, one of the things we heard from customers was they were really interested in us cutting our leakage, actually reducing the amount of water each individual uses within our area before we explore new supplies. So that's something we've really taken into account. We've actually driven forward in our water resources management plan, and it's now a really core part of our business plan as well. So we've got some challenging targets in there for us on what's called per capita consumption, or how much water each person uses, and also the amount of leakage from our system.
So you say before building anything new, so is that things like Cheddar 2? Which
So like a new reservoir, a new source of supply. Before we do any of that, customers say they really want us to focus on making the most of what we've already got.
So is there anything big like that in the draft plan, like Cheddar 2 or anything? There's nothing
Yeah,
like
so
that?
a significant difference from the Water Resources Management Plan this year, from previous years, and obviously the business plan itself, is there is no sort of new source of supply like a Cheddar 2 reservoir, which there was last time round.
People want us to cut leakage instead
Yeah.
and help them to manage their bills through water efficiency. So that's what we're suggesting in the plan.
Okay.
Those ideas have come out of the kind of engagement that we've had
Okay.
and the events that we've run today.
So people have already said that, and now
People
you're
have said
just
that.
checking, making
But-
sure that is exactly what they said.
Not everybody always has the same views, so we hear a wide range of views. The plan's always actually about have we got the right balance overall? Is there anything that you particularly like or particularly dislike? Because obviously our job is to try and make the plan as good as possible for a wide range of people.
So as Ian said, that we get a range of views from customers, and that's really important as well. And also we test our plan with a whole range of different customers. So we've had a number of events which, over the last few weeks in particular, are sort of centred around the Bristol area. That's obviously a large part of our supply area. But tomorrow night we're out and about down in Shepton Mallet, looking at some of our more rural customers and actually testing the plan with them as well to see how they feel about all the measures we put within the plan.
Okay, good. Just a quick question: why is it a draft plan and not just a plan?
Well, if you don't have a draft plan, it'd sound like you're not actually going to listen to the feedback you get. So a draft plan is we need to look at our costs, say actually can we do what we put in this plan for cheaper?
Mhm.
So we put a range of efficiency numbers in to reflect that actually we've got more work to do before we do our final plan, and part of that work is actually what do people think of it. So we think it's the most transparent business plan that water companies ever put out. Other people, we think, hopefully are copying what we do for their customers, because you don't necessarily have a choice of your supplier, but you should have a choice about what services you get from us.
So you've got the draft plan now, which is out to consultation until
18th.
18th.
End of the week. So there's a formal consultation period around the draft plan, but then after that we still continue to listen and engage with customers. So we'll be out in the community, we'll be doing events through things like the water bar that you take part in, Rob. Keep engaging with our customers, keep listening to our customers all the way up until submission, which is on the 3rd of September. And that's when we actually submit our business plan, or your business plan, our customer's business plan, to the regulator.
Okay, cool. You talk about likes and dislikes of what we've got out there. On social media, on Twitter, we have had a poll in the past about customers in vulnerable circumstances, and there's a bit of that in the business plan that talks about that. So maybe you can first explain what the draft business plan says around customers in vulnerable situations, and then and maybe just explore that a little bit for us.
Sure. I mean, we've got a range of things that we already do to help customers, and we recognise that actually almost anybody can be in vulnerable circumstances at some point in their lives. What we've actually got to do is make sure that customers find it easy to contact us and get the help they need from us, whoever they are. But we also recognise that our bills, we're talking in the draft business plan about how we keep those costs low, how we drive the cost of all bills for everybody down, but we also have a range of social tariffs. And we think, when you look at it, there's about sort of maybe 28,000 people in total who is probably eligible to benefit from those, and we currently have about 14,000 people who are actually on them.
Right.
So part of our plan is how do we actually promote what we're doing more out to people, and actually is that level of support right? So we ask both of those questions for people. And again, that's an important question for all customers. It's also an important question in terms of their ideas for how we can actually make more connection with people who we are currently reaching.
Okay. And you've both been involved in a lot of the research events and stuff. Do you find when you talk about that, most people are supportive of helping people in vulnerable situations, or what do you find is the kind of response from customers?
What we found, I think, most of all, it's a really difficult thing to work out how to communicate what you're planning to do to people, and I think that's what we've learned most. I mean, that's why I said that there, that actually could be actually just meeting individual customers' needs. That's the most important thing, and I think that language we'll take away from our consultation and try and express that better. But I think there's a whole range of views out there. There's some people who think we should help everybody. There's a range of people who think that we should help nobody. I guess the one message we get is fairness, that if people are eligible, people think that they don't want to take away the things that we already offer. They want to make sure we promote it as best we can and deliver that as efficiently as we can as well. So those are the two things that we've heard today.
Okay. I mean, one of the key things Ian picked on there was the sort of the opportunity for uplifts and more people becoming a part of those schemes that we've already got running.
Yeah.
And we had a significant piece of customer research which was looking at interviews with customers who have gone through that process of being vulnerable customers, and we've actually provided that support. So one-to-one interviews with them to understand sort of how they found out about it, how they engaged with us, what their experience with Bristol Water was. And one of the things we found from there is once they knew about us and knew about the things that we could help and offer with, the experience was really, really good. Mm-hmm. It was finding out that was an offer from their local water company to do that work. So, we've been doing the linking up with local charities. How can we actually drive that forward so that people are offered that support as quickly as possible when they find themselves in those vulnerable circumstances?
Yeah, and that was really important, actually. People who've said, I'm glad I've got the help now, but actually when I really needed it, when I was at the worst, I didn't have time to actually go and think about these things. So that's the real challenge to us, is actually how can we know when people don't have much time to spare that they need our help? Because we currently might sit back and expect people to tell us, but actually there's moments maybe they don't know
that we're there.
And maybe how can we actually help them at that moment from the information that we do have? So that's a really important question for us.
Yeah, big challenge.
Yeah,
big challenge.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll just move on a little bit. So, leakage is obviously a big thing that comes out most of the time. I think when we do any survey or any work with customers, they think it's a very important thing that we reduce leakage. A lot of people on Facebook have been saying that actually we should probably just concentrate all of our effort on leakage. That should be the thing that we think about. What's your opinion on that? Do you think we should just put all our effort into leakage?
So we put a lot of effort into leakage, but we found the cheapest way of delivering things is not to tackle one thing at a time. Mm-hmm. One of the best things we've done, even in the last year, was the Beat the Bill campaign. Mm-hmm. And what we did there is we went and thought, well, there's an area where we're going to go and replace our pipe work. Why don't we put a meter in at customers' properties at the same time, and actually then give them some information? And we found that was a really good way of tackling leakage on our network, but also some of our leakage is actually from customers' properties as well, and we need that information and that support to give them that support for tackling it. So sometimes the way we fix leakage is actually fixing 3 or 4 or 5 of the other targets that we've got. And that's sometimes the cheapest way of doing things.
Because that's another really important thing that people are asking about on Facebook, is about meters. Why do we push meter and people going on to meters so much? Why do we think that that's a good thing? But you're saying it helps leakage.
Well, it helps customers reduce their bills, and we want to provide more support for water efficiency. We're not going around forcing anybody to have a meter in the properties they're in. If you're moving house, then we'll go and fit a meter. That's part of our strategy because we think that's the fair way of doing it. But we're not forcing people. Sat at home now, we're not going to come along and say, we're going to force you to have a meter. You've got the choice. We want to promote that choice. And you've got a choice about moving into a house or not. So we fit a meter then as well. And we think that's the right balance of strategy. But again, people tell us if they think that's wrong. Now's the chance to tell us what you think.
It allows customers to understand how much water they're actually using. So one of the feedback we've already talked about, we've had from customers, we want to reduce the per capita consumption of water. So if you've got a meter on your property, it's really easy. You've got that measurement. You know exactly how much water you're using, and you're only paying for what you're using. So it's a really good way of us understanding that as well.
Because that's two of the key things coming out of the Beat the Bill campaign that you mentioned. Is actually it's a trial. We put it into 1,000 properties, I think it is. Something like that, just under, and we found a number of leaks already on customer side, which we wouldn't have known about otherwise. And also we were able to give them that information every quarter, I think it is at the moment, how much they've used, how much is that compared to the average users as well. So That's quite key, I think, going forward.
And it's worth remembering that if you're on a meter and you're using less water, you're also paying less on the sewage side as well.
Mhm.
So you're paying less for the supply and you're paying less for the sewage. So
Okay.
there's a double counting
Yeah.
element there, which people often forget about.
Yeah.
I don't, because I'm on a meter. So there's a really good double saving there.
Okay, good stuff. So another thing that comes from the business plan quite a lot is community. You put in there a lot about what we want. We want to do more in the community and help people and help improve people, our customers' community and what they do. Maybe just tell us a bit more about what you think that might look like, what we're currently already doing maybe, and then we'll just look at if you think that's the right thing to do as well.
Okay. Do you want to start?
So so we do a lot already because the water that we all rely on and that we treat, and we're all customers as well. So we kind of it's kind of a big thing actually, making sure the quality of the water that we deliver to people's actually tip-top quality comes from the environment. So the reservoirs that are in the Mendip Hills, the environment around them affects the quality of water in those reservoirs and ultimately affects the quality of the water that we supply to customers. We want that to be top quality, as cheap as possible in the long run, and that means that we have to look after that environment. But actually they're also important destinations for people. A great place to go and have your lunch, cycle, enjoy, and that's a community, a benefit to the community for the whole of Bristol. The other thing is the way that we deliver water efficiency messages to people actually works a lot better if we do it in partnership with other people. So we have, for instance, the refill campaign that's gone national, which is basically where we've worked with City to Sea, a local Bristol organisation, to actually get the value of drinking water understood. So some of these cups today that we use is about reducing plastic as well as the value of our water. That campaign's gone nationally. It's all started pretty much here in Bristol, so it's really important. And those are the sort of things that we do because it delivers better water quality to our customers in the long run, but the way we do it actually requires those organisations, the communities, to actually work with us on it. So we think that's important. We think those organisations help to make sure we're delivering for customers. So part of our plan's about how do we make sure that we're held to account for that. Not just by individual customers, we do that all the time. You tell us what you think and we'll respond to it, but also the community groups that we work with as well.
Okay, you just interestingly had a question in about community engagement, but I think you've just kind of answered most of that. Things we've had in the past as well about community, like do you think most customers want us to do more in the community?
So one of the things we found is that people didn't know what we did.
Right.
And we put out this another consultation before we did the draft business plan, which was much more to say, look, actually, how do we summarise what we're doing, what we're talking about? That the environment actually is the quality of your water. So when we look after that, we do that because that's our job.
Yeah.
And to do that job in the long run, we need everybody. We can also then benefit the communities that we work with, the environment, the kind of organisations who look after that. We work very closely with them because it suits us, and we both deliver a lot more for people for less money by working that way. And that's something we think is particularly good about the way that a small company like Bristol Water, small for the water industry, but matters very much to the region that we serve. And that's why we think that's important. It's the way of making sure customers continue to get what they expect from us and a few other organisations in the long run.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. I've got another question in about bills. So can you tell us what's going to, I mean, we've kind of touched upon it a little bit, but can you tell us what's going to be happening with bills as part of this plan?
Okay, so one of the core things to say is nothing's fixed at this point in time. So we're still consulting on that. It's really, really important to stress that. And on bill levels, we've tried in our draft business plan to explain to everybody what will happen against each of the three scenarios we've gone out with. So there's three options within the plan in the round. Effectively, two of those options mean that there would be either a flat or a reduced bill, and one of those options means that the bills will go up very slightly. Mm-hmm. So the one where the bills go up very slightly is related to what we're calling a suggested improvement plan. So it really is about driving forward all the improvements we want to make as a company as quickly as possible. And then we've got the suggested improvement plan and the slower improvement plan, both which are either flat or reduced bills. And I used the word improvement really keenly because all of these are improvements on our current service, and we're talking about still driving forward service, which is what customers have asked us to do. They've asked us to make improvements, but they've said they don't want to pay lots more for it, which is the right thing. So what we're trying to do is drive forward those improvements, have a program, have a plan, which is really strong, is better for our customers and better for the service we're providing.
Okay. And so the plan talks about the average bill, and that's what you're saying would potentially go slightly down or slightly up depending on which option. So we had a customer today talking to us about his bill, which is particularly higher than the so he's not on the meter. It's higher than the average bill. Could he apply the same principle? As in, would it still go down based on the two, or would it go up and more? Or
if your bill happens to be, and just the water bill here, Wessex are doing their own consultation on the wastewater bill, but we're quite careful that we talk about that. Yeah. So if your water bill is double the average, then it changed by double the amount that we're talking about here. So it's basically everybody gets the same the same proportion of the change. So a small reduction would be a slightly larger reduction. It'd be the same reduction of the bill. So, but you've got to start somewhere. Average is the best way of showing it. It's kind of an industry currency. It never reflects any particular person's bill themselves, but is the best way of showing it. But sometimes when we do statistical research as well, and those researchers first of all say, what's your bill? So when we do some surveys, it then actually translate these numbers into the impact on individual customers as well. So when we do all sorts of different sorts of research, other than just the documents, and in those we do manage to adjust it, so you can see your actual bill from in those bits of work.
Okay. And what we try to do in the plan is be as transparent as possible around current bill levels, current average bill levels, applying inflation going forward, and then showing bills with and without inflation, and without inflation, all the way to the end of the plan period, which is 2025. So we try to be as open as possible, demonstrate all the numbers in a really nice and clear way for our customers so they can clearly see how it will impact on them. And the events we've had to date where customers have come in and they've talked to us about the tables, they've been able to understand them and really get to grips with I get what it means, which is great. And that's really complex information to get across.
Yeah, it's not an easy job. So there is a few numbers in there.
There are a few. Yeah.
Well, the way we did it, we talked to people before producing this document about what's the easiest way for us to show it. Now, we'd love to get your feedback and ideas on how we can improve that as well, because you can always find ways of doing these things better. And even today, I'm sure there'll be lots of comments how we can do Facebook Live better as well. So any feedback you can give us, do let us know. But we just like having these conversations, and we get a lot out of doing this as well. So. Hopefully there's some challenging questions coming in to test us out.
Yes, I'm sure Eric will tell us if there are. Yeah. Not just yet. So something I just want to pick up on in there is, so basically the summary of that is everyone still has a choice on what happens with a bill, but two of the options that we've suggested would be a slight decrease on the average bill, and then there's the faster plan, which faster improvement plan would be slightly more, but not much. Cool. Bit different, but something that I just want to pick up on that you mentioned there, because you mentioned Wessex.
Yes.
Wessex Water. I just wondered if you could maybe explain, just very briefly, because not everyone gets the relationship between Bristol Water and Wessex Water and how they get billed in that sense. And then, obviously, can't really talk about Wessex Water's plans for the future and stuff, but just maybe how we interact with them and how that works for customers.
Wessex and Bristol set up a separate company. We both own it, and that does the billing to customers. And why do we do that? Because it's cheaper to do it that way. We're not sending you two separate bills. You haven't got different people that you have to phone up, whether it's water or wastewater when it's a query about your bill, and that works really well. Pretty much the only companies in the industry who got together and organised themselves that way. But that works for us, it works for Wessex, and hopefully it works for customers as well.
And that's because if you're in our area, you get clean water from us, and Wessex water
from wastewater.
They deal with the wastewater. So you've got two different companies, two services, one bill.
Absolutely, and that's that why you don't want two bills. No. And it's cheaper for you not to have two envelopes.
Yeah.
We don't send out 2 envelopes, two
Yeah,
lots of
yeah.
postage. Why wouldn't you do that? And in terms of the price review, Ofwat compare what Bristol Water does to all the other companies, including Wessex, who will submit plans. They test how efficient they are. Lots of evidence goes into that, including all of the customer research that we do. Ultimately, it's our plan. Our board signs that off. They'll listen to this customer research as well and help to make those decisions. And ultimately, Ofwat are there to challenge that we've done a good job, which includes the customer research that we've done.
So Ofwat are the regulator, the main regulator, and they're government body, or
so they're independent from government. They're there to protect customers, to make sure
Okay.
water companies like that, us, are delivering what we want for customers, have been thinking about the future, so we're not just storing up problems for the next generation of customers, and that we've delivered on our promises in the past.
Okay.
It's important that we're transparent about when we get things wrong, because we do get things wrong, and we know we get things wrong. We spend a lot of time worrying about whether we're delivering what we need to do. I mean, the most important thing to us is though that the customers think that we're doing a good job and trust us that we'll carry on doing that job for them for the future. Because if that's not true, the regulator's going to take action on the customer's behalf, because they haven't got a choice of supplier like they do in other sectors.
Yeah.
So that's why we really care what people think.
Yeah. And you said earlier we are all customers as well. Most of us here,
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
all customers as well. We all
Yeah.
live.
And who wants to work for a company that customers don't like and only
Yeah.
with them because of where they happen to live?
Yeah.
We actually want to do a
Yeah.
good job
We
because
wanna be proud
we want
of
to
where
come
we
to
work.
work every day, as we all do in this fabulous company with fabulous people. We like working here and we care about what we're doing. And I've worked in a number of organisations. And that's one thing I'd say is really special about Bristol Water. We hope the customers feel the same way. Do tell us if that's not true, because that's something we really want to make sure that is always true.
Okay, good stuff. Right, I'm going to ask you one more question, and I'll ask you each. So, the business plan is your baby, your child that you've had for a long time. What's the best thing within it for you? What's the thing that you're, bit of this draft, and obviously things could change, but at the moment, what is the one highlight for you as individuals? So if we ask Ed first.
I think the single thing that, I was here right at the start when the team first got together and we first started talking about how as a company we're going to pull our business plan together.
Mm-hmm.
So just ignoring the document itself for the moment, but the process that we've gone through, the first team we established was the customer engagement team. The first pieces of work we kicked off were customer engagement pieces of work. Now, I can see in that document where those impacts are, and I can see where that research has been turned into evidence, that evidence being used to establish core elements of our draft business plan. A couple of weeks ago we had a customer summit here, and I had a customer say to me, I can't believe you've listened so much, I can see my words in your draft business plan. Now that for me is the total highlight. Where we've set out to listen, and I really feel like we've listened to our customers right from the start, and we will keep doing so all the way through. Post-submission, all the time, we keep listening to our customers, and that for me is it's just been brilliant, really good.
Okay.
I'm going to sound like a politician and say I agree with Ed, but actually I do agree with Ed.
So I agree with Nick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who's Teresa?
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree. I wouldn't say any more than that. It's the fact that people recognising that we have listened, because it's really hard to write these documents. We think this one's pretty good. We think we can always do better. We're quite hard on ourselves, making sure it's as good as possible. And the thing is that everybody who works at Bristol Water can recognise their contribution to this.
Okay.
And hopefully our customers think it's as good as we think it is. But the other thing is when other companies are starting to kind of copy some of the things we're doing.
Which is good.
We're actually, it's nice to do a good job for your customers, but actually if it's having an impact on the wider industry and elsewhere, that's quite nice when you see the impact of what you're doing as well. So because we don't want to keep this stuff to ourselves.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't other people do that? We're
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
happy to for them to. And if anybody wants to come and talk to us and say, you know, how you found it, what do you think? It don't have to be just be our customers who respond to this. If people elsewhere who happen to be tuning in want to give us their views as well, please do tell us.
What's your favourite bit, Rob?
For me, it's the link to the community. About doing more for the community.
Yeah.
I think that's really important that we do more. We continue, and all sorts of different things as well. So you obviously talk about the environment and water, which is obvious, and how we affect that side of things for the community. But doing more that people that wouldn't expect from us necessarily, and actually doing things that are important to them, that are just in helping in whatever way we can. So that's for me. That's what I'm proud of in there, which I would like to see more from us doing as well. So, yeah. Cool. Well, we'll wrap it up, and unless you've got any other points you want to say, I'll tell people how they can respond. Yeah.
Fine. Excellent.
Cool. All right. So yeah, that's it from us. So if people do want to respond to our draft business plan, it is currently on the website. So if you go to www.bristolwater.co.uk/myviews, there is a quick survey that you can fill in. I think it takes probably about 4 to 5 minutes to answer everything and think about it. You can do it slightly quicker if you fancy it. Everyone that enters enters into a competition to win the equivalent of 5 years of your water bill, which is just over £1,000. And that's it. So thanks very much.
You can pop down to the water bar.
You can come down to the water bar as well. Thanks, Ian. So basically, we do a number of events over the summer. The next one is the Festival of Nature, which is on the 8th, 9th of June, 10th, around there, that weekend. And we'll be involved in the Festival of Nature in quite a big way, in fact. So, and then there's all over the summer, there's about 12 events in total that will be at. You come to the water bar, you can get free water. You're there, you have the chance to get one of these for free if you fill in the survey as well. So yeah, come and find us.
And more details in Water Talk, which should be dropping through your door if it's not there already.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it should start arriving this week. So if you see a copy of that, do pick it up. There's a lot more interesting stuff in there as well that we're up to. Cool.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks,
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.